Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to give you, go over the week that was in pro wrestling. I do apologize I didn't film this yesterday. We had a little bit of a medical situation. Not going to go too far into it. Everybody's fine now. So, that's why I am here. So I'm going to cover Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. A very, I don't want to say mixed bag, but it's interesting angles, good matches. It's a pretty solid week. So we start off with Monday Night Raw. Get a recap of Survivor Series, because of course we do. Then we see CM Punk. He's walking in the back. He's kind of in the garagey area. Runs into Jay and Sami Zayn, and they exchange pleasantries. We even see Sami and Punk hug, in which apparently they got some beef going back a couple years, but looks like they squashed it. And CM Punk continues out onto the stage for a promo. Where he says, after the events of Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, I stood here saying I didn't know what the future held for me, but here I am after a brutal War Games. The difference is I know where I'm going. I put all my beef aside. I handled my business for Heyman. I know what the future holds. Can you see it? He then points at empty space. However, I do know what that symbolizes. We'll get to it. He asks, can you see it? I can. There's no sign there right now, but I see it. There are multiple roads to get there. Winning the Royal Rumble, going the Elimination Chamber route. But I got a big favor in my pocket, and when I'm ready to cash in, as soon as he says that, out walks Seth Rollins. He does have a microphone. They stare down for a second. Then Seth brings it up to his lips, says, I've been thinking. I really should have knocked you out when you first came back. And now, over a year later, I got in the way. The bloodline had to be taken down. And last I saw you this close, I was this close to taking my shot. But I had pity for you. And then after Saturday, seeing you stand there with Roman, it's time to rectify that. Seth continues, as we stand here now, there's nothing in our way. Tonight is the night I knock you on your ass. And now it's back to CM Punk. He says, you talk too much. I've long past this. 6 months ago, you had something I wanted. I know my future, and you ain't it. And I don't think about you at all. I got things to do. You need to stay out of my business. Seth replies, you talk way too much. This is my business. And as Punk is starting to walk out, Seth attacks Punk from behind. And Punk with the shittiest work punches I've ever seen. Although that goes against the minion from the first episode of AEW Dynamite. But they brawl for a little bit. Sami Zayn and then Jey Uso come out. They separate them. Adam Pearce comes out. He gets in the face of Seth Rollins for a bit. Then Sami Zayn gets on the microphone. And he says to Punk, "You handle your business now." Punk continues to go after Seth, but officials break them up. Seth then says to Punk, "Go on back to Roman." Then Sami turns to Seth and says, "Look, I get you're angry, but you don't talk to Jey that way." Seth then says, "My bad, man. But Jey's family isn't yours. It's not your family, man. If you're a family with Roman or with me, we've been doing this together for 20 years. And you didn't ask..." Sami continues, "I didn't ask to team with Punk. He was willing to help. I wanted you on this team. I asked you twice, but wouldn't have taken Punk if you weren't so stubborn." Seth then replies, "Don't remind me that the reason you wanted my help was to help Roman get back to power." Sami Zayn then replies, "Do you remember who created that monster? Don't act like your hands are clean." Seth then replies, "I understand my sins. I have amended for that. You did the same. You did it for the right reasons. All I did what we did to take down the bloodline. And it's clear Roman hasn't changed. Punk hasn't changed. You're just gullible." Sami replies, "I get you're angry. You want to blow off some steam? Let's go tonight." Seth then replies, "If that's how you want it, fine by me." So we're getting Seth versus Sami later on. That's going to be awesome. Then we see kind of fan footage. And it's not even fan footage. It's like extra footage of Judgment Day jumping Priest after Survivor Series, which I was hoping we'd be past this, man. Then we see Judgment Day in the back with Liv calling Finn a numbskull. Thought you were going to be staying away from Priest. Balor then says, "I decide I'll handle this myself. Maybe if you guys had focus, you wouldn't have lost. And Liv, you got Io to focus on. And then Dom says, "I hope you know what you're doing." Then he kind of shuffles everyone out and has a conversation with JD McDonough. So, let me explain what's going on. Basically, Punk's goal is a WrestleMania main event that he never got in his original run due to Dwayne and John Cena. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So, definitely going to be interesting. I'm surprised we're getting Sami Zayn versus Seth, but should be a good matchup. Speaking of a decent matchup, we go into our next match as it's Damage Control, Io Sky and Kairi Sane taking on Judgment Day members Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And this was a decent little matchup. Kairi, Io, and Liv do have some really good chemistry. Raquel, the best way I can explain Raquel Rodriguez is that she's the heater. She's the Kevin Nash to Liv Morgan's Shawn Michaels. She gets in there when times are tough, gets the hot tag, and yeah, that's pretty much what she does. That's her role. And she plays it really well in this, especially tossing around the damage control. Eventually, she gets a big boot into a Tihana bomb for the win for Judgment Day. So we'll see where that leads. Post-match, Judgment Day continue the attack on damage control. Who comes out to make the save? It's Rhea Bloody Ripley. So Liv bails. Raquel and Rhea get a brawl going. Rhea attempts a riptide, but Raquel is way too big. Big old clothesline over the top. Tosses her into the announce table, into the ring post. Officials eventually come out and break it up. So, yeah, it looks like we're going to get Raquel versus Rhea in a to get to me, you gotta beat X story, which at least it's just one person. We then go backstage for a Gunther interview. However, it is immediately interrupted by Finn Balor, who pretty much says, Gunther, I know you know I helped you. I think you owe me a title match. This is the second time I helped you against Damian Priest. You owe me a match. Gunther then turns to Finn and says, No, I don't owe you anything. I won this for myself, by myself. Then JD kind of scoffs. Actually, it's Dom who kind of scoffs. And then Gunther says, why do you have so much confidence? Well, Dom actually has a win over Damian Priest. So I'm going to have a chat with Adam Pearce. Okay, looks like we're getting Dom versus Gunther, which that's definitely a surprise. Next up, we got our first round matchup for the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament. As we have our participants, Dakota Kai taking on Shayna Baszler, taking on Katana Chance, which so good to see her back. Yeah, Baszler pretty much overpowering these two a bit. Looks like we were gonna get a Tower of Doom spot, but that gets countered into just a superplex. A couple of times Dakota goes for soul food, but that gets blocked by Baszler, who locks in the Karafuda, but Dakota Kai gets out of it, hits a 450, gets soul food. So your winner, it's Dakota Kai. Moving on to the second round. Definitely a solid matchup, and I do hope Dakota Kai wins. We then get a nice little video package for the New Day 10-year anniversary. And here comes the heartbreak. As we get the New Day 10-year anniversary segment. Stage is all aligned with old school New Day gear, including the giant box of Bootios from WrestleMania. I want to say it was 29. Whichever one it was in Dallas. The year before Cody Rhodes came back. Then in the ring is some big moments from the New Day's career. Like Kofi Mania from WrestleMania 35. Big E's Money in the Bank win. Xavier Woods winning King of the Ring. So Woods and Kofi then come out. They get to the ring. They're a little solemn. So Woods starts us off saying, we're here. We've been successful in WWE for 10 years. Getting to this point has been a dream. We just want to say thank you to everyone. Kofi then continues, it's been one hell of a ride. Never have I dreamed we'd accomplish so much. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. Then there's a small Big E chant. Woods then says, yeah, we miss him too. Then Woods continues, we wanted to come out here face to face and tell you this isn't your fault. We got nothing but love for you. We've talked this over. When it comes to the New Day, and I thought that's when they were going to break up, out comes Big E to a big reaction. It's good to see him back on TV. He gets in the ring with his mates, saying, I can't thank you guys enough. I wish I was here under different circumstances, but seeing you guys argue and say bad things to one another hurt. When we started all this, we nothing but each other. 10 years ago, we were almost done. We were together on the worst day of my life. I held your daughter, Kofi, in my neck brace. We mean something to a lot of people, and it also means a lot to me. And until I'm cleared, I'm going to remind you two of who you are, and I'm going to be here every week as your managers. Alright, nice little reaction. Kofi then turns to Woods with like this disgusted look on his face. And he says, now, you want to come back. After watching us fight for months, you left us. Woods then says, I broke my neck. I couldn't do anything. Then Woods makes the turn, says, you left us. And you broke your neck? So what? Stone Cold broke his neck and came back. Kurt Angle broke his neck and came back. Daniel Bryan broke his neck and came back. So you obviously have family to go back to. You did nothing. We did this for you. And as big, as strong as you are, you couldn't have been back sooner? I've heard it all before. I got hurt and I was back in 9 months. If you cared about us, you would have been back. Instead, you chose your new life over us. We now realize the burden you've become. We miss E, but E didn't miss us. And like we said in the beginning, it was brotherhood over anything. You broke it. You chose yourself over us. Tell the truth. Let me tell the truth. You're never going to be cleared. So get out of our ring and get back to the desk. We'll call you if we need you. Then Big E goes in for a hug. Xavier Woods just puts his hand on his chest. And then Big E leaves the ring. And you see Kofi and Woods face off. Mega Powers handshake. Oh my god! This segment broke my heart. Like, I've been a New Day fan, maybe not since day one, but at least since the Budios days. And seeing, oh my god. Oh, this got me emotional. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the end game is. If Big E is cleared, then that should be the match. However, I do have a little idea. If Biggie wanted to manage the New Day, I think we haven't managed someone else. Like, you got Cedric Alexander and Ashante the Adonis just kind of sitting around. Haven't managed them against the New Day, who bring in Omos. I think that would be a great idea. Anyway, like I said, if you end up watching this angle back, grab some Kleenex, because that hurt. Like, I'm going to say this. I knew something bad was going to go down for this. I didn't realize it would be this. Like, holy cow, that hurt. Anyway, then we cut to a Karrion Kross promo. He's in his lair somewhere. And he says, I've done some bad stuff to people. Last week, sent that creature after my wife. Words aren't going to get me what I want. I want the Wyatts next week. Remember, you started this fire, and I'm going to finish it. Kross finally getting something interesting. I like it. We then go to our next matchup of the evening as Dominic Mysterio takes on Gunther. And as much as I wanted to see Gunther just completely decimate Dominic, this was a fun little matchup. Like, the big guy, low guy dynamic was there. A couple of times it looked like Dom was gonna, get his upcomings via the power bomb. Blocked it a couple of times. Gets Gunther with a low blow. Hits a 619 to his leg. Drop kick into a 619. Hits a frog splash only for a 2. Goes for the Three Amigos. That gets blocked. Right into a big old chop. Big boot. Power bomb. So your winner, Gunther. And honestly, Dom is looking solid these days. Post-match, Finn Balor attacks Gunther, Sling Blade, Dropkick, and like 4 coup de grace. Which, man, that was wild. And we'll see it set up something a little bit later. So next up, we see backstage, it's Pete Dunne. He's being interviewed with the interviewer almost calling him Butch, but he says, stop, please don't say that name. Tonight it's supposed to be Pete Dunne versus R-Truth, but it doesn't seem like he knows what's going on. It's you versus me tonight. So, nice, easy little promo. We then see Jey Uso, and he's been taken out backstage. He's surrounded by agents, or whatever that you want to call them. Nothing really more comes of that right now. We'll get to that, though. As next up, we got Pete Dunne versus R-Truth. And this match was pretty much dominated by Pete Dunne. Like, he pretty much goes for all his tricks. But then he gets distracted by the crowd chanting Butch. That gives Truth long enough time to hit a roll-up and steal a win. I love Truth as much as the next guy. He should not be winning that. I'm sorry. Hopefully Pete Dunne finds a path. Because, honestly, I think he could be a great Intercontinental Champion. And actually, speaking of the Intercontinental Champion, we got a Braun Breaker interview saying that the challenge at Survivor Series was great. However, then look like Kaiser walks in. He says, be proud of yourself. I accomplished what I set out to. Stopping Sheamus from becoming Intercontinental Champion. Now there's nothing stopping me from taking your title. Hitting the title on Braun's shoulder. Braun then says, "Is that a challenge? Let me go talk to Pierce so I can beat you and see that look on your face. But I'll give you props. That was a hell of a match at Survivor Series. But you gotta get out of Gunther's shadow even faster." So it looks like they're breaking up Imperium for real, which, I don't know, I don't hate it. We then see Adam Pearce backstage. He's talking to someone on the phone. Not really sure who. Then Sami Zayn kind of rushes in, asking, "What happened to Jay? What happened to Jay?" Adam Pearce then replies, "I don't know. He's getting checked on at the hospital right now." Sami asks, "Who did it?" Pearce answers, "I don't know who did it." Then Sami just gets a look on his face and says, "I'm about to kick his ass in the ring." So then he walks off for his match. We then see Adam Pearce. I guess he's somewhere else in the arena. And he runs into Finn Balor, who asks, "When is my title match?" Pearce answers, "You're lucky the War Raiders aren't here. But I talked to Gunther. The match is set for Saturday night's main event. However, next week, let's talk about your other title match." I am going to say this. I have been completely disillusioned with Judgment Day holding the tag titles. It's time for someone else to hold it. Whether it be the War Raiders or... hell, I'd take Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. So then, we roll on to our main event as it's Sami Zayn. Oh, brother. Taking on Seth Rollins. And this match was so much fun. Lots of really good moments, including Sami Zayn blocking a pedigree right into a Blue Thunder Bomb, only for a 2. Sami set up for a Helluva Kick, goes for it, runs right into a super kick, in which Seth goes for a stomp, misses. Sami rolls to the outside. They fight, ringside for a bit, and Seth just goes off. Like, he slams him into the barricade, into the ring post. It's definitely interesting. They get back in the ring. Sami then grabs a chair. It looks like he's about to hit Seth Rollins with it, and he asks, "What did you do to Jay?" And then Seth Rollins is like, "I didn't attack him. I didn't. It wasn't me." So Sami throws the chair outside the ring, turns back around, Seth with the roll-up, and gets the victory. Yeah, this was definitely a very interesting little matchup. But here's where something really fun comes along. Camera stays on Sami Zayn. Turn around. Eats a Claymore from Drew McIntyre, making his return after Bad Blood. So, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn feud, I'm in. Let's go. So, that was Monday Night Raw. Very interesting little show. Hopefully, we get a decent little go-home show for Saturday night's main event. So, next up, we got NWA Power. We got the opening video to Samhain, whatever you want to call it, which is their current special. This used to be a pay-per-view for them, but now it's more like a TV special. So we start off with the by-the-book 6-man tag team match, as we got the Country Gentlemen, so that's Joe, AJ, and KC Kazana, taking on the Slime Balls and their mystery partner, who is revealed to be Jay Bradley of the Fixers. Alright, obviously going back to the Fixers Bounty Hunter, Guns for Hire days, which is interesting. Another interesting one, very few weapons used in this match. Usually street fight, we get like chairs and garbage cans. Joe Kazana does get his branding iron, but that gets countered out almost immediately. Actually, I think it was AJ using his belt to whip his opponents. After that, a little bit, Wrecking Ball Legursky, the other Fixer, comes out and just starts running house. Apparently, this is no DQ. Then the Slime Balls get their belt. The Kazanas then get their advantage after a chop block from KC. Then Joe takes off his belt buckle, uses it like brass knuckles, knocking out one of the Slime Balls for a win for the Country Gentlemen. Definitely a very somber match for a street fight, but you know, it's going to be a little interesting to see what the champs do going forward, and if we see Joe anymore. We then have an interview from Lev. I am not sure who this guy is. And says, "Do you see it? My path will be there for me, illuminated. I'm Lev, and I'm bald." Yeah, I have no idea what that is supposed to be, but I guess he has a goal in mind that I don't know about, but anyway, moving on, we have a number one contenders triple threat match for a future shot at the women's title, as we got Natalia Markova, Hollywood Haley J, who I thought was going to the WWE, and Kylie Page. And this is also elimination style. And yeah, these three have an absolutely awesome matchup. Really good back and forth. Markova goes for the beautiful destruction. Misses on Haley J, who roll through. It's a Shining Wizard for a 2. Actually, hold on. No, earlier in the match, Markova hits the beautiful destruction on Kylie. Eliminated. Goes back to one-on-one. Haley J with the Shining Wizard for a 2. Hits 2 curb stomps in a row for the win and the number one contendership. Yeah, this was a fun little triple threat. We'll see if Haley J has what it takes to take on Kenzie Page. We then get a hype video for Daisy Kill and Talos versus the Immortals. We then go to an interview with the Southern Six, with Joe pretty much taking the lead, saying, "Oh no, this Southern Six. This is Thrillbilly Silas Mason saying, 'Life ain't fair. Idol, when you were in New York, Kobe, your dad left you. It's going to be an unfair fight when you face off against us. Moral of the story, shoot at the 6, you best not miss. That is definitely a better catchphrase than what they were going with. And then we go to our main event of the evening for the number 1 contendership for the tag team titles. It's Daisy Kill and Talos taking on Odinson and Kratos, the Immortals. And this was a pretty solid little tag team match. Especially with Talos and Kratos. Those two have some really interesting chemistry. One point we see the ukulele being used as a weapon. Talos with a choke slam. And your winners, Daisy, Kill, and Talos. Kratos tries to get the jump on Kill and Talos post-match. Kratos then grabs the ukulele from the corner, and Daisy Kill bails out of the ring. So, I guess this rivalry isn't over. I could see the Immortals getting involved in the tag team title match, but, again, we shall see. Pretty entertaining episode of Power. We'll see where this special goes in the near future. And then we finish up with one of my favorite shows, AEW Dynamite. As we start off with a recap of the Continental Classic matches that have happened. Very nice. And also, little announcement. Juice Robinson has suffered an injury in his match with Will Ospreay last Saturday. So he has been taken out of the Continental Classic, replaced by Commander, which is, maybe a little bit of a downgrade, but I'm sure it's going to be just fine. Start off with Blue League action, as it's Shelton Benjamin taking on Kyle Fletcher. And dude, honestly, I never thought we'd get a match like this. They absolutely killed it. They did so well in this match. Trading super kicks, trading brainbusters. But end of the day, Fletcher catches Shelton Benjamin in a roll-up with his hand on the rope being used for leverage. So your winner is Kyle Fletcher. We then get a Collision recap from the week before. That's when it's announced the Juice Robinson injury. We then get a promo from Hook, in which he says, Nick Wayne, I heard you. I heard your challenge for New York from Collision. You want to fight me? I want your father, and leave him laying. Nick, you want to come get me? Come now. So, out on the ramp comes Mama Wayne and Christian Cage. But that was just a distraction as Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian jump him from behind. Hook does fight back for a little bit, but eats a cheap shot from Mama Wayne. He then gets a big old beatdown from the entire patriarchy. Kip Sabian then goes outside the ring, grabs a couple of chairs. They force Hook's hand into one of the chairs. Concerto right to the hand. Which, ouch. Oh, I don't care who you are. That's gotta hurt. So then we cut to a backstage Mercedes Moné interview, asking not to speak on the name of Camille. She quit. My concerns are with Anna Jay sticking her nose in my business, and there's always a price to pay with Moné. So we'll see that a little bit later. Then we see the Hurt Syndicate in the back with MVPs asking Shelton, what do we do? Why should he stick around? I'm proud of you for being for that match, but I'm disappointed you lost. So it does look like there's at least a tease of a breakup. Benjamin and MVP and Lashley leave Benjamin alone. Benjamin then takes his anger out on an agent. Then the rest of the Hurt Syndicate come back and beat down on a couple other agents. So, it looks like the Syndicate is staying together. We then go to this ultimately pointless matchup, the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, where the winners, the two last remaining participants, face each other next week, and then at World's End, the winner of that match faces MJF for his diamond ring. I honestly forgot about that. Like, for real, I forgot about this ultimately pointless thing. We got our participants: Evil Uno, Lance Archer and Brian Cage, Adam Cole, Top Flight, the entire team, Leo Rush, Mark Davis, which that's interesting, Rocky Romero, and Kyle O'Reilly. So ultimately it comes down to Archer, Cage, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole. Almost simultaneously, Kyle and Adam Cole eliminate Archer and Cage. They face off for a minute. They're kind of jawing at each other. Then Kyle bails out. We then see another Julia Hart interview, seeing she is targeting Jamie Hayter. Then we get a backstage interview from the Acclaimed, with Caster taking the lead, saying, "Everything's great, we're doing great." Billy Gunn then walks up saying, "No, it's not great. I've been trying to talk him out of this. The Acclaimed hasn't been done by one person. You're going about this all wrong." Then Caster just goes, No. Then Anthony Bowens interjects saying, "You call yourself the best wrestler alive. Go out and prove it." So we go on to our next matchup, as it's Max Caster versus Swerve. Swerve pretty much attacks Max Caster on the ramp, gets him in the ring, bell rings. Caster goes for a famouser, he misses. Clothesline over the top rope, into the ring steps, gets him back in. Big old drop kick, and then like 3 house calls, and Swerve goes for the pin. So your winner is Swerve Strickland. Looks like Swerve is going to go up the ramp with Nana. Looks back, gets up to the top rope, and hits the Swerve Stomp. Ooh, boy. And then he turns to the camera, says, "Bobby Lashley, this ain't over." So that little feud is going to be continuing. I'm definitely okay with that. We then get a promo from MVP. He's still wherever he is. And he says, "That's classic. You guys kind of deserve it. And if it wasn't this messy, our relationship, Cole, was messy, then you turned on me. And look at the butterfly effect it made. You face Kyle next week and beat him just to get to me. Mox has now taken over with his group. And that's all on you. I'm sick of it. Sick of walking around pretending to be you being the hero, but you're really the villain. And I'm going to prove it to you. You can't beat Kyle. For that, you can thank me later." Oh, MJF is just such a good promo. It's not even funny. As we go on to our next match, thankfully a non-Continental Classic match, as it's Pac versus the Switchblade. Jay White. Jay White kind of immediately goes for a Blade Runner that gets blocked, with Pac rolling to the outside. Jay White follows him, just beats him up a little, gets him back in the ring. Pac with a backdrop, only for a 2. They trade chops and big boots after a while. Then Jay White going for a top rope move, but Yuta then takes Jay White off the apron, hits him with a clothesline with the ref distracted. Pac then gets out, throws him into the barricade, gets him back in, hits a big old DDT, only for 2. The ref then backs Jay off of Pac. Pac rolls to the outside. Jay White follows. Goes for a Uranagi. That gets blocked. Pac with a suplex into the Uranagi. Misses on the shooting star press. Jay White tries for another Blade Runner. That gets blocked. Dueling suplexes. Another try for the Blade Runner. That gets ultimately countered with a standing brutalizer, which that looked crazy. Jay White gets in the ropes. He heads to the outside, eats a Busaiku knee from Wheeler Yuta with the ref distracted. Yuta slides Jay White back in, pretty much stands up, hits a Blade Runner for the win. Then you see Yuta checking on Pac. Yuta then goes for an attack on Jay White. Jay White with a Blade Runner to Yuta. Then this brings in Marina Shafir, which Jay White teased hitting a Blade Runner on her a few weeks ago. But he is ultimately stopped by Jon Moxley, who attacks Jay White from behind. Hits a paradigm shift. As that's going on, out comes Hangman Adam Page. Mox and Hangman then face off. Then we see cameraman kind of go by the camera, gets in the ring. It's revealed to be Orange Cassidy. So Death Riders fight them off after a little bit. Then Cassidy with orange punches for everybody. They get Mox in the ring. Jay White with a Blade Runner. Then you see Hangman on the apron. He's mad. He's angry. He's ready to go. Jay White's like... And a big old box shot lariat to Jon Moxley. And as the Death Riders are retreating, you see Christian Cage coming up on the ramp. Just kind of surveying things. I do see what they are trying to do for World's End. Yeah, looks like we're headed for a fatal 4-way, which I am down. We then get a Jamie Hayter promo. Been a while since we've heard from her. Telling Julia, I know you like to play mind games, but this isn't for me. What is this about? For whatever reason, I don't know. I came back to right wrongs. I'm on the path of something great. The Woman's Cup means a lot to me, but I'm ready to fight anytime, any place. Then we get the weirdest Chris Jericho promo, where he announces the date and time for Final Battle. Says, I wonder who I'm going to be facing. I'm going to give more on TV time on Ring of Honor. Spoiler alert, considering I do not watch Ring of Honor, it's Matt Cardona, the former Zack Ryder, which is very, very interesting. We then get a vignette. It starts off, looks like it's an old western town with these two cowboys telling, oh, this man is coming to town. He's a wanted man. The most wanted man. That's right, we got Bandito coming back. I'm hyped. He's one of my favorite luchadors. Glad he's coming back. We then get into our arbitrary women's match of the evening, as it's Anna Jay taking on Penelope Ford. And honestly, this match was really, really good. Like, this was a super underrated match. Really good back and forth, including a block of the Queenslayer. Penelope Ford with a springboard stunner, kind of like Cena used to do. Whiffs on the moonsault, eats a crazy drop kick. Anna Jay going for the gory special, but that gets countered into an abdominal stretch, but Anna Jay gets in the ropes. Eventually, she does get the gory special for the victory. Post-match, she gets on the microphone, says, "Monet, I know you're watching. Come on out." Brings out TBS champion Mercedes Moné, who says, "I was watching. And if Chris and all her power and skill can't beat me, what makes you think you can? And people call me arrogant. But I like the confidence, kid. Come back in 10 years when you've actually done something." Anna Jay then brings the mic up to her lips, says, "Like this," and just slaps the taste out of Monet's mouth. Monet then bails to the outside. I am definitely a little hyped up for this matchup. Winter is Coming is going to be very, very interesting. And actually, speaking of, we then get a Mariah May interview. She's kind of in... Looks like she's in the lobby of a hotel, honestly. She says to the interview, "I'm giving this shot to my friend. Is the right thing to do. We're going to celebrate afterwards. Women's wrestling is dead." And as she says that, you see Mina Shirakawa, her opponent, looks like she's about to smash a champagne bottle over her head. She stops short, puts down the bottle, says, "If I'm going to do that, I want to do it to your face. Winter is coming. Make me work." I haven't been really enjoying the build to this matchup. It's been super good. Cannot wait to see that match. And then we get to our main event of Dynamite, as it's more Continental Classic action, this time in the Gold League, and it is a hoss fight, as it's Brody King taking on Claudio Castagnoli. And while not the most technical of matches, they beat each other down good. Like, this was a solid matchup. Claudio targeting Brody King's hand. Brody King just kind of overpowering Claudio at times. Goes to the cannonball on the outside. Ends up hitting the barricade, in which last time he did that, blew out the broadcast for the show, which that was pretty funny. Eventually, Brody King does hit the cannonball in the corner, goes for a power bomb that gets blocked. Claudio goes for an uppercut. Brody kind of catches it, gives him a couple of elbows. Claudio once again targeting the hand. Big old superplex. Brody with a pile driver, only for 2. Then Brody sits Claudio on the outside in a chair. Goes for a crossbody. Misses. Claudio with a pop-up uppercut. Claudio gets back in the ring. Brody beats the 10 count. Claudio with his big old lariat, only for 2. Brody goes for the Gonzo bomb, that gets blocked. Claudio with a low blow, neutralizer to pick up the win. Good lord, that final match was awesome. Honestly, overall, Dynamite has been really, really good lately. It feels like it's focusing up a lot more. And I've been really enjoying the show, despite its obvious issues. So, yeah, that'll do it for me. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, I do apologize for my tardiness on getting this to you guys. I do promise Monday I will be covering SmackDown, Rampage, and Collision. Then next week will be my predictions for Saturday night's main event, which should obviously be tons of fun. Yeah, that'll do it from me. Till next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.